Hi, this is Katie Ann, and in today's ADP training video, I'm going to walk you through how to pay your team member a secondary rate other than their primary rate of pay, and also how to do a department transfer if that team member works at another facility. So the additional rate, when I'm paying that out, it's a two-step process. First, I want to make sure that the team member has an additional rate listed within their job profile. And then I need to complete a work rule transfer in the time card to pay that team member that rate properly. So let's get started with step one. I'm going to navigate to My Team, Employment, Job Information. So you'll see all of my team members that report directly to me. And I'm going to select that team member that should have an additional rate. So when their profile populates, I'm going to navigate to this compensation tab and just verify if there is a rate listed. So I see that the primary rate is $9.50. And when I scroll below, I see that there are no additional rates. They have $0. So I want to make sure that I put that in so then it is paid accordingly when I do the work rule transfer in the time card. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to make changes. I'm going to select current pay period. It's important that we select a time frame within the current time frame, today or within the period that we're working in. So I'm going to go ahead and say done. And then it's going to prompt me to select an action. So my action here is a pay rate change. So when I select that drop down, I'm going to navigate to pay, PAY, pay rate change. And then I'm going to come back to my compensation tab. And I'm going to select this pay change method. I want to select multiple rate changes because then it's going to open up the field below for me to insert those values. I'm going to scroll down. And here for rate 2, let's say this team member makes an additional 50 cents for working a catering function. So I'm going to make sure that I put $10 in here as their hourly rate. Now, overtime is not a rate. The time card is smart enough to calculate overtime if a team member works over 40 hours in a work week. So let's go ahead and submit this. So now that I have that secondary rate in their job profile, I want to make sure that I allocate that properly in their time card to pay. So what happens is when you sign off on the time card and it goes to the payroll engine, it then looks back to this job profile to pick up that rate that we just inserted and pay it out accordingly. So let's go ahead to step 2. I'm going to go back to My Team, Time and Attendance, Time Card Approval. So this is where I will see my team roster and navigate into their time cards to make those edits. So let's go ahead and just select that team member that I need to pay that additional rate for. So I selected and highlight, go to time cards. When I'm paying an additional rate, I have to do it via this transfer column. So when I'm in this cell, I click and I get a drop down. I want to select search. So paying an additional rate is a work rule transfer. So I want to select work rule. And I see here at the top of my list, I have second hourly rate or third hourly rate. So again, whatever's in that field in the job profile is what will be picked up. So I want to select second hourly rate and click apply. Make sure I save the time card. So then I see here regular 2, it's paying that team member 7.5 hours. Now, the wages in the time card are calculating on that primary rate of pay. Time only retains one rate, but please be assured once it transmits to payroll and there's a value in that job profile, it will pay it accordingly. So that's how we would do a transfer to pay a team member a secondary pay rate. Now, let's say we have a team member that has worked at another facility. We want to make sure that we transfer those hours and earnings to the other department so that they're allocated properly. So again, that's in this transfer column. So I'm going to select it again. Now, As you start using the transfers, you'll start to see things pre-populated based on your cache and your browsing history. So let's go ahead and just click search. And this time it's going to be a labor account. I'm transferring it to a different location. It shouldn't allow me to select any other fields other than location. So I select this drop down, and then there's a lot listed here. We have a lot of departments. So I can search if you know the name of the department or the number. Most likely you know the name. You can just go ahead and type a portion of that, and it's going to pull up all of those locations that include those characters. So let's just go ahead and select Abington Heights. And I'm going to apply this. Now I see that department transfer in there. If the team member also is transferring departments and being paid an additional rate, same thing, we just have to select it twice. So search, labor department, and a work rule. So then it's doing double the work for us. We're working at a different facility and being paid an additional value. So again, make sure you save your time card to make any changes. When you see an X over here, that's telling you that these hours and earnings are being transferred somewhere else. So the first subset is the company. Our second subset is our home department. And then the third subset is the department that is being allocated those hours and earnings. So anytime you see an X, that lets you know that those hours and earnings are being transferred. And that concludes today's training session. Thank you for watching.